Welcome to Living Above the Drama. I'm your host, Dr. Georgiana Donadio, and today my guest is Kelly Marie Hoffman. She is a graduate of Wellesley College who has earned a master's degree in marriage and family therapy and a master's degree in family recreation. Kelly spent over 5 years as an at-sea firefighter in the Merchant Marine. She says that this is where she learned a lot about men. This knowledge has informed her work as a dating mentor for older women. Kelly is currently a professional speaker and dating facilitator who specializes in working with women over the age of 45 who wish to learn dating skills and find commitment-worthy men to co-create a lasting, loving, passionate, committed relationship. For the past 10 years, Kelly has been working with older women individually and in group settings as a dating coach and mentor. She's passionate about bringing loving outcomes into the lives of people who have spent their years giving to others and may have settled for less than what their heart hoped for, and now want to learn the skills needed to select a loving, fulfilling partner. Kelly, welcome to the show. I am delighted that we are doing this topic about dating skills for us older gals. So welcome.
Oh my goodness, Georgiana. Thank you so much. And thank you for that lovely introduction. That was great.
It's my pleasure. I have to tell you, the one thing I was so delighted to hear in the pre-interview is that you went to Wellesley College. That's where my practice is right around the corner from Wellesley College. That's literally in walking distance.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Oh, you're so lucky. That's just, I'm sure you can get out and take walks around the campus. It's just a gorgeous facility and such a great place to be a woman and to be educated. I was very fortunate.
That's really great. That's so wonderful that you had that positive experience. Yes, walking around the campus is a big deal, and of course they're filming movies there, and you know we have all kinds of famous people that show up. So let's talk about what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, how wonderful! I'm thrilled. You know that I wanted to interview you because
you've been lovely.
Yeah, well, I wanted to interview you because you know not only is it a really important topic, but it's an underserved population. I mean, you know, and I know that, you know, people think of online dating and they see some lovely, 28 to 35, 40-year-old couple, they're kind of meeting each other and smiling and falling in love. But the truth of the matter is that the majority, the fastest growing population online dating is seniors. So do you want to take it from there and talk about that
and my goodness.
Why you made that choice, okay?
I just say amen and hallelujah to all of that. I tell people what I do, and I get the strangest responses. Like, people are like, you can make a living doing that. I'm like, do you, like, what people think being over 50 is so out of sync with what the reality is. Not only with what the lived experience is, but with the breadth and passion and desire. As a woman, we tend to, once we get past this certain look and feel, we tend to not be noticed by society and to not notice that the women in this age group are contributing so positively to the world, to their families, to their careers, and that they would want to claim a passionate, loving, committed, connected partnership is just unfathomable to me. But that is the reality of how people view it, and that's not how I view it.
Yes, and I think let's talk about that for just a second because, it's a funny thing. I'm in the healthcare industry. I have 2 careers, and I'm also a person in media, so I talk to an enormous amount of individuals. And it seems that us older folks fall into 2 categories. Either we are still in the game and we're engaged and we're excited and we're willing to grow and we really want what our heart's calling for, or we kind of, withdraw and settle and accept and just don't want to take risks anymore. And I'm sure in the work that you do, you're seeing this kind of, this kind of development later years. Because you had said something in the pre-interview about you really need to be open. You really need to want to
It's
learn. Yeah.
It is so true, and you've nailed it. And when I don't care, people come to me and say, "Oh, I'm this weight, I'm this age. I don't know if there's anyone for me." And I just over and over again, it doesn't matter what your size, it doesn't matter your age, it matters the attitude you come with. I can take a 50-year-old with an attitude of, "Oh, I don't know if I could do this," and I can't help them. But I can take a 72-year-old that says, "I'm going to do this, and I have these desires, and I have these goals," and that is someone I can work with. So yes, there are those two categories, and I think the key to living, regardless of whether your body is still working or not, but to really live is to make sure you're always in the growth mindset. You're always in the growth learning curve. Because if we're not growing, we're dying, and we're all dying from the moment we get on this earth. But there is a delightful way to do this journey, and there is a way that's just marking time. And more, I'm hearing from women that are like, I never thought of this, Kelly, but when I heard you talk and I heard what you're saying, something woke up in me, and I don't want to settle anymore, and I want to be alive. And just because I didn't get it, what I wanted in my 20s and 30s and 40s and even 50s and 60s, doesn't mean I can't have it now.
Exactly, exactly. And I think one of the things that's quite remarkable, and I say to my daughter, I have a very young daughter. My daughter just turned 26 years old, and I'm over
How
70.
fun.
I know, but the thing of it is,
That is so fun.
she looks at me and says, "You go, Mama." She says,
Yeah.
"You go."
Yeah.
But it's hard. It was hard for my children to
Uh-huh.
to understand that I wanted a life after divorce. It's. I think
Uh-huh.
young people, they look at us older people and they think, well, you've lived your life. No, it doesn't work that way.
And they think you don't have a libido, you don't have a sex drive, you don't want to be cuddled, you don't want to have adventures still. There are so many assumptions that people make just because of the number of digits in your age and what decade you're in. And even the people that love you and think that they know you the best, they don't know. I hear all the time from women that tell me the secret desires of their heart. And it's all about the romance and the passion and the connection as well. And not the romance and the passion like a 20-year-old thinks about it, but the romance of having someone show up and have your back. The romance of having someone in your life that knows how to deliver on a promise. The romance of having someone that wants to learn how to make your body spark, not someone who automatically makes your body spark. Those are the things that the mature heart, we talked in our pre-interview about maturity, that's what the mature heart longs for. And when you get that in your life and you're willing to bring that yourself, that maturity to the relationship, that can be the most passionate time and passionate encounter of your life. If you can open up, as you were saying before, and be one of those that are still in the growth mindset, the growth life set.
I call that being still in the game.
Yes.
A lot of what happens to us as we get older, we've been hurt. I mean, you're much
Yeah.
younger than myself, but I mean, we get hurt and we get
Yeah.
disappointed and we get rejected
Yeah.
and we
And
get our hearts
shame.
broken and shamed and oh my Lord, you can go through a whole list of things. And so
Yeah.
when you're young and the world is your oyster, I think
Yeah.
the challenge is how do you stay in the game and forgive and process and move through a lot of that kind of sadness and loss.
What an amazing question, Georgiana. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to answer that. To still be in the game. I know 20-year-olds that aren't in the game. You're right, it's easier when you're 20, but if you don't have the right mindset, you still can get taken out of the game. What I have found for myself and what I have found for my clients, no matter what age they're at, although I now specialize in women over 45, I have used what I teach about dating and personal empowerment to help women and men at all ages and age groups. And what I have found is you've got to keep in mind that this isn't about anybody else. If someone hurt you when you were 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, if you let that hurt stop you, you're still allowing that person to stop you. And so there's that big breath in where we say, yeah, that happened, that hurt, that stunk. Here's the lesson I learned. And the big breath out with, this is my life. Going forward, it will not be dictated by people that did not show up and have my back. Going forward, my life will not be dictated by people who did not know how to love. Bless their hearts, they tried their best, and it wasn't enough. And I am enough. And I am so much enough that I deserve someone that has enough for me. And there is not only no settling for less than I deserve, there's an active pursuit of what I deserve, because the women that I help have succeeded in careers. They've succeeded in raising children, often on their own, or without significant assistance from a spouse. And they have made these incredible accomplishments, and yet they still feel that desire to be connected and have that loving relationship. And then they get saddled, like you said, with the hurt, the disappointment, the rejection, and they get taught that when you face hurt, when you face disappointment, when you face rejection, you should feel shame. And what I teach my women every day that I love and adore in my program is we just let that shame wash off us. It does not stick. We are Teflon. There is nothing to be ashamed of to be a passionate, vibrant, sexy woman at 72, 82, or 92. There is nothing to be ashamed of having a desire to be in a sexually vibrant relationship with an emotionally healthy man. And society, I hear all the time, like, that there's some expectation that you're no longer bearing children. Why on earth would you want a man? Like, how about to have a friend? How about to have sex? How about to have a partner to share life with? Why is that somehow supposed to be off my menu? But we understand why men would want to claim that into later years in life, but somehow there's no understanding and claiming and comprehension of the passion that is in the breast of, I don't care if they are a housewife in the Midwest or the most posh and urbane woman in New York City. Every woman has the ability to desire and want that, and we shouldn't be shaming anyone who's trying to step up and claim it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And the one thing I want to just toss in there is that sometimes we don't want sex. Some women don't want sex, but they want companionship and affection.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't want a partner. They want someone to make love with. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they just want someone to go to dinner with or the theater with. I think that's the other thing. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I do know men and women who are not particularly interested in an active, some of them, they can't physically, be involved or whatever. So we have to talk about, I think it's important to talk about not necessarily like being loved, but what you talked about in the pre-interview, meeting someone who you feel has your back, who's there for you, who cares about you, who it was at 2:00 in the morning and you were having chest pains, you could call them up. You may not want to call your daughter in Minnesota. You may want to call the person who you've been sharing a lot of your life with.
Yes.
So I think that that's an important thing so that nobody feels like they have to have a script for that either,
I'm so glad that you brought that to the table, because increasingly as I work with more and more women, I've been surprised. It's really hard for me to keep up with people that are reaching out to me. And I've been surprised at how many of them are okay. And it's not settling in any way, shape, or form. They're like, I don't even know where I want to go with sexuality and intimacy. And they're looking for someone that has more of a low-key approach in that. But the bottom line, like you said, they want a best friend, someone who has their back. And that is the thing that they're not willing to compromise on and not willing to make excuses for anymore in their life. And I talk with women that want to travel and have adventures, and I talk with women that just want to hold hands on the couch and watch a movie, and I talk with women that want to go to concerts and museums and everything in between. And the bottom line, no matter how rigorous they want the sexual experience to be, or how laid back or how non-existent, they want that sweet partner, that passionate partner that doesn't necessarily have to be physical intimacy, but that passion for life, that we are not dead yet, and we will not go gently into that good night. Not to necessarily rage against the dying of the light, but to sure as heck kick up their heels as the light, becomes a little dimmer. And that is passion.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you can be passionate about going to bingo.
Yes, you sure. I have friends that have. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I have to tell you, one of my older patients, and I say older because she's been a patient of mine for like 35 years. She came in the other day, and she's 75, and she has a man friend. And Peter, she comes in, and Peter is there with her, and he is so like protective, and he's an advocate for her, and he takes her places and takes her to dinner and spends time and helps her putter around the house and everything. And she said, well, he's just the best part of my life. He's my friend. And I'm thinking, as we get older, even when you're younger, isn't it incredible? I'm starting to rethink. You said something, it was so important. You were talking about how you said the sexiest thing, the most passionate thing is when you have a person who really has your back and is there for you and is into you and understands you and wants to support you. I mean, all this other, hormones and all
how he touches your cheek or whether he looks at you with the smoky eyes or not.
Right,
all that is, it's great for the moment, but day in and day out, if you want to be in a Twitter-pated, heart-pumping, body wanting to connect with another body, you sleep next to a man who's got your back. That's how I get chemistry, and that's how my clients get chemistry.
That's the truth. Isn't that the truth? And so we need to talk because you were very generous sharing lots of your experience and your wisdom about
Thank you.
What the important things are. And you talked about, which I thought was really super. Oh, and I have to tell you, I love, you called yourself the love rehabilitation expert. Love rehabilitation. Whoa, that's like pretty cool.
Yeah, because everyone knows how to do it. We just need a little rehab, It was working once. We just got to get it working again.
I know that. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Although I do like dating mentor, I must admit. I do like dating mentor.
Either one. I'll answer to either one. But in my heart, that's what I feel like I do, because I do get people that have tender places that were hurt and that were never supported and don't know what it's like. I have one gal that I'm working with that she's realizing how much she walks away from guys that can be a connected, committed partner to her because of her childhood experiences, and rehabilitating her to be comfortable around men that they're showing up all in her life and she keeps running away. And she's like, I can't believe I never saw this before. And I'm so glad I get to fix this now, and we're fixing it, but we're rehabbing her to the woman she was born to be before those painful experiences happened, before that childhood, before those relationships happened, and she got beliefs about herself that just weren't true.
Yeah, and boy, don't we all have that? Isn't that called baggage?
I prefer to call it luggage, because I like carrying my luggage, and it helps me get places and do better there. But I can leave my luggage behind if I want. But my baggage, I feel like I'm not allowed to ever put down.
Well,
I put my luggage down.
I hope it's Diane Furstenberg luggage.
That would be awesome.
And not some beat up, But you said something that was really important. And then we're going to have to take a break. I can't believe the first segment's gone by. You said
how fun.
You said that you worked with and identified a lot of men and women who were very, very successful, and some who weren't. And then you said they don't know how to show up, the ones who weren't, as a person who owns the vetting process, which I thought. Yeah, that's kind of like, what that reminded me of? That you're doing the interviews for a job position. And when we come back, because we're going to take a short break, we're going to come back. I'd love for you to start talking, about how do you interview a perspective, just like it's a job. Well, it's a position. I won't say a job. It's a position, right? The position of companion, or the position of boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. So we're going to take a short break, everybody. Don't go away. We will be right back with Kelly, and she's going to talk to us about the vetting process, which probably most of us don't do, and we're going to talk about that too. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of not feeling heard and not feeling valued? Are you longing to receive the love and respect you want? There is a solution right now. Transform your relationships with easy-to-learn, proven communication skills. Dr. Georgiana Donadio, relationship communication expert and #1 national best-selling, award-winning author of Changing Behavior, explores the unconscious patterns contributing to stress, lack of fulfillment, and our relationship interactions. By learning and applying the simple principles of behavioral engagement, which has been clinically tested in leading hospitals. To develop mindful, pure presence, you can experience the happiness and fulfillment you deserve in your relationships. Begin changing your behavior today with Living Above the Drama radio show host, Dr. Georgiana Donadio. Call 888-354-4325. 888-354-HEAL. Call now.
Become credentialed for the emerging medical health and wellness field. Work within healthcare environments or start your own private practice and bill for your services with your own NPI number. Train for this exciting specialty in patient-focused health and wellness education with the National Institute of Whole Health NIWH, the only nationally accredited training program for patient health education and advocacy. Open to credentialed health and education professionals, our training qualifies for health educator liability insurance, a national provider identification number, and our expert prepared billing and coding manual.
For more information about the National Institute of Whole Health, visit www.niwh.org or call 1-888-354-HEAL, 888-354-4325.
If someone said you could transform your life and enhance your relationships by using a few simple communication techniques that can be applied in almost any setting, would you want to learn these skills? If the answer is yes, you've picked up the right book. This easy-to-read guide is loaded with simple skills that have been scientifically shown to have a huge impact on our relationships. By using the steps in this book, you will be able to enhance not only your life, but the lives of everyone around you. If you have the intention to practice and apply these skills, it will become a natural part of who you are. A true must-read for anyone who wants to transform their professional and personal lives. Changing Behavior. Immediately transform your relationships with easy-to-learn, proven communication skills by Georgiana Donadio.
You can purchase Changing Behavior by Dr. Georgiana Donadio by visiting Amazon.com, where it is available in both Kindle ebook and paperback.
Dr. Gas is on the advisory board of Health Corp, a new program which was begun by Dr. Mehmet Oz.
65% are overweight and 35% are obese, and the sharpest rise in this country is between the age group of 4 to 8 years old.
Throughout his career, he has been inspired by patients who have experienced dramatic recoveries through lifestyle changes.
The National Institute of Whole Health is a perfect example of how people will learn to really take control of their lives in a healthy way. What they've done is they've collected basically the who's who of integrative health, and they've brought them together to give a series of lectures where they can then communicate with health professionals to basically deliver the message that we have to look at medicine from a different perspective.
For more information about the National Institute of Whole Health and their accredited professional continuing educational programs, go to www.wholepersonhealthcare.org or call 1-888-354-HEAL.
And I am talking today with Kelly Marie Hoffman, who is a marriage and family therapist. She has a master's in family recreation, and she is a dating mentor and something wonderful that she described to me as a relationship rehabilitation expert. I love rehabilitation experts. So, Kelly, I'm delighted that we're back, and you're going to jump right in. Talk to us about. You said we don't really understand that the task in dating is different than the task in relationship skills, that the dating skills primarily must start with the ability to vet a potential partner.
I love it. And thank you for setting up like that. And I call this Owning Your Love Life. This is what I call my course. I say that my course creates hero daters. And, with the risk of sounding cliche, that's what my women do. I hear it in their voice when they show up and they're owning it and they're their own hero, and then everything falls into place. And so what happens when we don't have a vetting process is people show, especially I hear this with older population, there isn't as much dating. And so somebody shows up and they seem like a nice person. And so you spend time with them, and now we're all of a sudden in a relationship, And there has been no taking a look at what is it I want out of this relationship? What will serve me? What do I have to give? What will serve the other person? What activities do I want to do? Do we even have shared interests? What we kind of have as our baseline is this a good person? But that works if you're 20 and you're willing, when 20-year-olds are pretty malleable and you can grow together and apart, but you can grow and create something together. But when we're talking about being 50, 60, 70 years old, we want to be able to have who we are remain intact, and we don't want to be constantly bending and conforming. We want to connect, we want to integrate, we want to mesh, but we're not looking to do the total transformation. So the vetting process is about finding out, is this person someone that's doing the things and interested in doing the things that I like to do? Does their interest, and you have a scale. I do this very in depth. I'm trying to fly through it here on the interview. But even more importantly before that is this person into me and am I into them? Are they showing up? Are they saying one thing with their words and demonstrating another thing with their actions? Am I creating stories to enable this person's bad behavior, or am I able to see what behavior they're doing and feel comfortable with it? These are all parts of the vetting process that it's very easy to do in a job interview, because usually you're not emotionally invested on who gets the job. But if you do relationship skills before you do the dating skills, now all of a sudden you're emotionally invested, especially if there's any kind of physical intimacy or snuggling or touching. You want that to work out when there's some kind of payoff and connection and something that feels good. You don't want to let go of that. And now we're creating stories to justify what we're doing, as opposed to doing a vetting process that justifies getting into the relationship. Does that make sense?
Oh boy, I'll tell you, I think, for most of us, and you and I talked about this previously, a lot of us are coming from history where there wasn't a lot of connection. There may have been no intimacy in a 25-year marriage.
Yeah.
There may have been no affection. There may have been no nurturing going on. And one of the things that I've seen and I've shared with you in the pre-interview is it's real easy to meet someone who is giving you what feels like a nurturing attention. And the chemistry's exciting and you're romanticizing and you're spinning a story to yourself, And the worst thing you do is you ignore bad behavior. That's the worst thing, is we start to justify.
Yeah.
So, there are a lot of cautionary tales here. It's kind of like you have to have your act together to go out there and vet somebody. And I think, wouldn't you say most of us mess up because we have needs going into the process?
When I say, I think where people get in trouble is when their needs are driving the bus.
Exactly.
And it's kind of like, I need to eat and I want to lose weight, but I'm going to let my need and my desire to eat determine where and how much I eat, as opposed to eating is something that serves me, and I can either let it serve me well or serve me and hurt me. And that's the same with dating. I have needs. I want to meet these needs. I not only have the need to date, but I have the need for the long-term payoff of the relationship that I'm getting into through dating. So I can either date in a way that gives me that instant gratification that's going to fulfill a need. And there may be times when that is completely appropriate. And we're taking judgment off the table. This is no shame. Whatever is appropriate to you in your life, bless and do it. And if you're in a situation where you want to be in a committed relationship, but you're getting stalled out in these relationships that go nowhere, then it's probably time to shift into a perspective of dating for the longer term payoff and not be settling for the short-term payoff anymore.
Right. We talked about that. It's like investing in the stock market. You've got the fast money that you can high risk, and isn't it true, because it's really high risk when we're going for the short-term gratification as opposed to looking at the long-term picture. When you get involved in finances, they say you've got to be in it for the long haul. So you don't look at the short term up and down. You have to look at the projected long term. And the same thing is true, when we're getting involved in a relationship. But I also want to clarify, that's if you want And not everybody, and I'd like to talk about this age group, not everybody wants to live together, wants to get married,
Mhm.
but definitely wants a companion. This is the biggest thing that I hear,
Mhm.
in my world of communication with people is companionship and not
Yes.
being alone and being able to share things with other people. Can you tell us some stories and tell us about, like the idea of like what have some women done to overcome their own fear or limitations?
Yeah.
And then we want to start talking about the most glamorous, I think, thing is the dating skills and all the wonderful skills that you laid out, which I think is, boy, if we can pull this off, ladies, we are good. So tell us a little bit about, give us a story or tell us, like, have you had someone go from like one extreme to actually finding a companion that they, whatever they chose
Yeah.
to do, settled in and actually found some long-term success in that area?
Oh, I have two fabulous stories of women that were both 68. The first one, dear woman, she'd been the giver her whole life, taking care of family, taking care of grandkids when a child died, give. And her last relationship was 2 years before she met me. She had to travel to his house. She was doing all the giving. He never wanted to do what she did. We go through our program. She said she wanted to quit. 3 weeks in, everyone tells me they want to quit. It's what I do challenges your beliefs about yourself, and it's scary. And you have to dig in, and she dug in and she did the work. Fast forward 7 weeks later, she's dating in an empowered way. And she dates one man and she knows it's not a good fit. We do our vetting process. We have our talks. She does the program. And then this man that she is with now shows up, and she calls me 2 days later tearfully. I can't believe it. I don't want to get so excited, so help me talk down from this, but he's showing up and he's responding and he's giving to me. And he said to me, I can tell you've been a giver and it's your turn to receive. And he's backing it up with his actions. And we said, okay, let's calm down, because we know that sometimes people can do, in the short term and they can't sustain it over long term. Well, here we are months and months later, and he's still showing up with that same tenderness, that same sincerity, not the love bombing. And for her, she doesn't want to live together. They live 20 minutes away, and she's happy with that, and he's fine with that. And so she's setting the terms on her own. Another client I have, I told her she's 68 and she was going on these adventures and llama hiking, and she kept getting couch potatoes, which is fine, but that's not her. She was ready to quit, and so she decided to invest and work with me. And 3 weeks in, she's like, I'm ready to quit, and we did a follow-up call, and we basically said, look, you're a 30-pound canary, and you're looking for your partner in a flock of canaries that are all 3 ounces, whatever it is canaries weigh, and you're mad at them for being a 3-ounce canary. You've just got to face the fact that you're looking for a 30-pound canary. So number one, you need to stop pretending that you're a 3-ounce canary, because that's what you're doing. And number two, you've got to be okay with the fact that 30-pound canaries are rare, and you're gonna have to look for them in different places. Fast forward 2 weeks, she said she had nothing. She's totally empowered. I heard the shift in her voice. She rewrites all of her online dating stuff. She hears nothing for 2 weeks, but she comes on the phone call that we do, and I can hear it in her voice. She's like, I don't care if this takes 2 years. I know what I need to do, and I'm doing it. 1 week later, she meets the man that she is now sailing around Bermuda and the East Coast, loving life with. And she said to me, Kelly, I want someone that is like that Ed Sheeran song, Perfect. And I wasn't familiar with it, so I had to go look it up. And I listened to it, and it was beautiful.
What is it?
Ed Sheeran, he has a song called Perfect.
Ed Sheeran, Perfect. Wow.
Yeah. And so she goes to meet this man that ends up becoming her companion and sailing partner. And he teaches her to sail all day. And she's like, she's having this amazing experience. And they go out to dinner that night. And there's a live band. They're overlooking the harbor. And the live band starts playing Ed Sheeran's Perfect. And she's like, whoa, wow. And it gets better. He turns to her and holds her hand and says, I love this song. I know nobody's dancing, but will you dance with me? And she had her 30-pound canary. And that proof, that vetting process, this man is able to do what nobody else is doing, just like she was. And those beautiful, beautiful moments, that is what I live for when I serve my clients. And that's the romantic part. But then I have other clients that they're so happy that they have someone that wants to watch Netflix with them and walk their dogs with them and have their comfortable, sweet life. And
Right.
that's just as valid of a goal and desire and dream. And there's just as much passion, and whether it's physical intimacy passion or passion for life in their relationships as it is in these. It's just beautiful to get to watch.
It's so wonderful, and I'm, of course, being a senior myself. I completely encourage everyone. I mean, I've heard stories about people in their 90s getting married, and people in their 80s, and there's these wonderful, wonderful stories. And the thing I've discovered, and I don't know if you see this, but like I've kind of made up my mind about certain things about myself, and it's funny. You make up your mind about certain things, and you pull it in. It's almost as if
it's true.
It's almost as if
you make up your mind about it, it's true.
You know, it's funny because if you read a lot of metaphysics and about energy and all of that, it's as if we're transmitting to people, and we're letting people know what we want and who we are. So one of the great things is doing a workshop like yours and committing to that kind of work. It's really training and disciplining your thoughts and your focus and your energy, which is going to go out like radio waves, and it's going to be picked up by like-minded people. I mean, isn't that a coincidence that he said perfect? I mean, come on. I mean, what is that?
No, that's, no, it's really true. And I see it when I'll tell you honestly, every vibrational change is preceded by a panic. Just like, I don't think I can do this. I don't know what's happening. I'm scared. Every woman I work with is preceded by that. And when I mentor them and I do the love rehabilitation and I'm there for them and I say, my daily mantra is I serve my clients to the moon and back so they know what it feels like. Because often the women that I work with have been there to the moon and back for others, but they don't know what it feels like to have that. And once they get a taste of what it is, so they can recognize it and they get past the fear, all the shame, all the guilt, all the stuff holding them back, the belief that it's going to happen for everyone tells me, I think it's going to happen for everyone else and not for me. And when we move past that and they start seeing it as, wow, this could happen for me, then they move into that frequency, then all of a sudden the person shows up that's a great fit for them.
Exactly.
Not a great fit for everyone, but the great fit for them. I call it the phenomenal fit partner, syndrome or phenomenal fit partner phenomenon. Like they just show up when these women stop playing small and step into the goddess, the warrior, the sweetheart, whatever it is that they were born to be that feels authentically them. When they return, they get that rehabilitation and return to the woman they were born to be before parents talked to them and taught them something different, before boys, girls, everyone in high school, husbands, whatever it was, before all that layered on, who they were authentically born to be. When that comes through, the right fit shows up because they hear it, they see it. And some of my clients, I just had we had our group call today. One of my clients, she is super successful in her career. She has had relationships with men that are they're much smaller than her. And she didn't know why. And working together, she's realized she's afraid to make eye contact with men that are actually showing up in the world with as much strength and power as her. And it's related to something in her past. And we're untangling that because she knows she wants to vibrate at that frequency and not run away from that gorgeous gift that these men are trying to give her, but that she's literally running away from.
Yeah, and isn't it amazing that self-awareness is the key to everything, whether you're talking business success or family success or relationship success. It's so exciting to tap into that. Now, one of the things that you talked about the non-negotiables, and you said you've spoken to lots and lots and lots of people, and that there were basically the top four things that we're looking for when we're dating. We're trying to identify, we're trying to vet people. And the four things we really want to look for in most people, whether they're men or women or, they're young or old. You want to talk about those 4 wonderful things?
Yeah, I would love to. And let me just say, these are very personal, and some people have different words for them. And so when I'll say the word passion. Now, for someone, that might mean passionate intimacy. For someone else, it might mean a passion for life. So it's hard to start from this point because this is what my clients want. And so I always make sure that that's individualized to them. But what I hear consistently from my clients is they want, you and I talked about with the stability. They want someone that has a passion for something, that is actually showing up and living, and someone who is kind. Now, there are different degrees and there are a few other things that keep showing up, but consistently, this is what women want. And shouldn't be a hard list to fulfill. And it isn't when you know how to move. This is the skill I teach, and I talk about there's dating skills and there's relationship skills. And dating skills not only include the vetting, not only include knowing your non-negotiables, but dating skills include knowing how to move somebody that is not going to be able to show up in your life with what you need out of your life, no matter how great a person they are. Can't tell you how many people spend months, years even in relationships because they were with a nice person, but it wasn't a good fit for them. Yeah. And that person never showed up and claimed the potential of who they were. I have people tell me all the time, I fall in love with potential. Potential isn't reality until it's actually happening in the world.
Right. So can you name those 4 things as we're coming up to our next commercial break?
Sure. It's the passion. It's passion. It's being responsible, being kind, and being emotionally available. Those are the 4 things that most women want. And
you had talked about integrity and financial equity and kindness and passion,
right?
And being available. Yeah.
And that falls, like I said, there's different. When I have women do this, I have them do it a specific way where they define the words for themselves. But yeah, that integrity showing up as who someone they can count on, someone who has their back. It's really, really key.
And that really is emotional availability too.
It is.
Integrity and emotional availability. Because if you know what someone wants and you're not willing to give it to them, that's not a lot of integrity. There's just not a lot of integrity there.
Yeah. No, especially if you're capable of it. And now, on the flip side, there's always, nobody ever strikes first. Wars are always fought defensively. Never, rarely do people feel like they're being on the offensive. So we can't get into the other mind. But what I teach my clients is we don't have to worry about what's going on in the head of the other person. Right. We just have to look at what's showing up in front of us. And when we stay focused on what's showing up in front of us, this person will tell you whether it's appropriate to go on another date or whether it's appropriate to say goodbye. You just have to be willing to look at the evidence.
Exactly. Well, with that, looking at the evidence, we're going to take another break, and we will be back in just a few minutes with Kelly, who she gave us dating skill list. And this is a really great list that informs us about some skills we can use to actually find that right companion. Don't go away.
Dr. Gans is on the advisory board of Health Corp, a new program which was begun by Dr. Mehmet Oz.
65% are overweight and 35% are obese. And the sharpest rise in this country is between the age group of 4 to 8 years old.
Throughout his career, he has been inspired by patients who have experienced dramatic recoveries through lifestyle changes.
The National Institute of Whole Health is a perfect example of how people will learn to really take control of their lives in a healthy way. What they've done is they've collected basically the who's who of integrative health, and they've brought them together to give a series of lectures where they can then communicate with health professionals to basically deliver the message that we have to look at medicine from a different perspective.
For more information about the National Institute of Whole Health and their accredited professional continuing educational programs, go to www.wholepersonhealthcare.org or call 1-888-354-HEAL.
If someone said you could transform your life and enhance your relationships by using a few simple communication techniques that can be applied in almost any setting, would you want to learn these skills? If the answer is yes, you've picked up the right book. This easy-to-read guide is loaded with simple skills that have been scientifically shown to have a huge impact on our relationships. By using the steps in this book, you will be able to enhance not only your life, but the lives of everyone around you. If you have the intention to practice and apply these skills, it will become a natural part of who you are. A true must-read for anyone who wants to transform their professional and personal lives. Changing Behavior. Immediately transform your relationships with easy-to-learn proven communication skills by Georgiana Donadio.
You can purchase Changing Behavior by Dr. Georgiana Donadio by visiting Amazon.com, where it is available in both Kindle ebook and paperback. Are you tired of not feeling heard and not feeling valued? Are you longing to receive the love and respect you want? There is a solution right now. Transform your relationships with easy-to-learn, proven communication skills. Dr. Georgiana Donadio, relationship communication expert and #1 national best-selling, award-winning author of Changing Behavior, explores the unconscious patterns contributing to stress and lack of fulfillment in our relationship interactions. By learning and applying the simple principles of behavioral engagement, which has been clinically tested in leading hospitals, to develop mindful, pure presence, you can experience the happiness and fulfillment you deserve in your relationships. Begin changing your behavior today with Living Above the Drama radio show host, Dr. Georgiana Donadio. Call 888-354-4325. 888-354-HEAL. Call now.
Become credentialed for the emerging medical health and wellness field. Work within healthcare environments or start your own private practice and bill for your services with your own NPI number. Train for this exciting specialty in patient-focused health and wellness education with the National Institute of Whole Health NIWH, the only nationally accredited training program for patient health education and advocacy. Open to credentialed health and education professionals, our training qualifies for health educator liability insurance, a national provider identification number, and our expert prepared billing and coding manual.
For more information about the National Institute of Whole Health, visit www.niwh.org or call 1-888-354-HEAL, 888-354-4325.
And we're back with Kelly Marie Hoffman. Kelly has a master's degree in marriage and family therapy and a master's degree in family recreation. And she has been, for the last 10 years, working with women over 45 as a dating mentor and a love rehabilitation expert, and helping with providing insight and dating skills as opposed to relationship skills for women who really want to find a sustainable and fulfilling relationship. So, Kelly, we need to go through your list. I've got a long list here that you mentioned.
Yeah. And, before we start on that, can I just talk so that people understand the difference? Most women and some men use relationship skills in dating, and relationship skills are all about giving and building and sacrificing. And those are great in a relationship when two people have the same goal to build and give and sacrifice for one another. And that's when relationship skills work. But you can very quickly see that if you're building and giving and sacrificing with someone that isn't meeting you halfway, that's a very one-sided, draining relationship. And so that's why we need to focus on dating skills in the dating in the dating days, and not jump into the relationship skills too soon.
That is so great, because I think for the most part, many of us, we do have good relationship skills. We do know about giving. We do know about sacrifice. Mm-hmm. We do know about, how to support that other person and how to have their back. But the real problem is that we haven't vetted our partners so that they are in the same place that we are.
Yes, 1,000 times yes. I talk to women all the time on the phone, and they tell me that they're bad at relationships, and then they describe the marriages or relationships they've been in. I'm like, sweetheart, your problem is not that you're bad at relationships. There's not one person in 1,000 that could have made that relationship work for as long as you did. And they have shame because they've been divorced 2 or 3 times. And like, the problem wasn't your relationship skills. It was your dating skills that got you in the wrong relationship, because everyone thinks, oh, I'll just be better. And then they'll see how amazing this could be. And then they'll be inspired to give in return because everyone sees the potential. But there is the dating skills are what keep, marriage and family therapists from needing to have a job. I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting across from a couple thinking if we just did dating differently, we wouldn't be here. It's just that powerful and that important. And so I know you asked for the list.
Yeah, so, I've got it right in front of me. So let's try tackling this. We have about 7 or 8 minutes left, and I think we can get through it. First, you said finding the person equally as committed to create a relationship.
Yes, without telling yourself a story about why they didn't text or call back, without, compromising what you want, to really know this is what I want. Is this person across, at the other end of a text, at the other end of a phone call, at the other end of a dinner or a walking engagement where we're getting to know each other, are they showing up committed in a way that resonates with me and feels authentic with me, that they're worth spending more time with? That's huge.
Absolutely. And this was really important. Not getting sidetracked by people who aren't a good fit by creating stories and condoning bad behavior, but really taking someone at face value, because there's an old expression, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Absolutely. That derails more wonderful people, women, than I can even count. And the other close second to that is being in a relationship with someone who's a good guy, but just isn't showing up, but is a good guy. So you don't want to break up with him because maybe we won't find another good guy, but he's not showing up. So even though he's a good guy, he's not a good fit for you. And understanding how important the good fit for you is, and making sure that when you're evaluating the good fit for you, that you're seeing if they're really showing up, like we just said about, you're not telling a story and excusing bad behavior. And if there's good behavior, is it the kind of behavior you really want? I have a client that wanted someone healthy, and she was compromising because she was dating someone that wasn't as healthy, but he was a good guy and he was meeting her needs in other ways. And I said, and I had to present her with, one of your non-negotiables is healthy. So, if this is something you want to compromise or change, you've got to sit down and make sure that you're not, betraying yourself in this. And it was a real wake-up call for her, because he did have all those other things. And so it's really difficult to keep that integrity.
And I think that's really important. I was sharing with you, I've dated men who on paper checked all the boxes. They were great, but there was something. Maybe they weren't as emotionally available, or they were still suffering from guilt from their divorce or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a really important point. But also, are we willing to compromise? Sometimes you have to compromise. Sometimes you have to say, he's absolutely perfect. I wish he would love to play golf. He doesn't love to play golf, but I can compromise on that,
Yeah. Well, and that's why I say the non-negotiables list is so individual, because those are I do it a very specific way, and those are the things that you don't compromise on. You have a scale of what you'll accept, but beyond that scale, you don't compromise. But everything else is up for negotiation. But the things that really matter, like integrity, like being emotionally available, like wanting to live as opposed to marking time until you die, those are non-negotiables for most of the women I work with. And so those are the things that we don't compromise on. But who gets what side of the bed, whether we play golf or we, go hiking, those are things that we can come to some kind of compromise and agreement that maybe is even better than the original way. But you can't compromise on your integrity, and you can't compromise, well, we'll only be alive a little bit today, and tomorrow we'll be really alive. That just doesn't work.
You had mentioned a couple of things that are all related. You said if you're at the kissing stage, you've already made a choice. If you're getting physical before you vet them out, you got to stop. Really, you have to stop relying on the chemistry and chemistry, and you can notice the chemistry. You said chemistry can be a gilded path. I'm not sure what that means, but chemistry is the great. I mean, I'm sorry, ladies, if you're listening, you know what I'm saying. chemistry is the big thing that trips us up. So we know about chemistry, and I've only got a few minutes left. So the big thing you said was be who you were meant to be and release the power of the self.
Yeah. And so what happens with chemistry is and the reason we got to that point was I had told you the story about this woman I'm coaching who her chemistry with someone was wrapped up with not being able to let go of that relationship, even though it was very obvious that he was not reciprocating to the level that she deserved and wanted. And she realized this when they had an interaction, and he had, said, "You embarrass me, please never contact me again." And she instantly realized, oh my goodness, that's what's been happening. I've been so connected because I felt like he's so ashamed of me and he's embarrassed by me. And she's like, why do I want to be around that? And I said, who's the first person you remember getting love from who is, shaming you and feeling embarrassed by you? And she said, my mother. And instantly we get to the point that she was feeling chemistry because her first love doses came with shame. And so when she was looking to connect with someone, shame was igniting her chemistry because that's what she remembered love really feeling like at that deep child level.
And the same thing happens. Yeah, and same thing happens with rejection, right?
Yes, rejection, anger, all of the negative emotions. When you're a kid, you don't know how to parse that out. You don't know how to unravel it. If the love comes with all those negative things, because your parents, bless their hearts, they're trying their best. But if it comes with that, then you think love tastes that way. And until you get a pure dose of what love tastes like without the negative emotions, you don't even know what it looks like. It's like trying to describe a cloud to someone that's never opened their eyes. They might think it's a cotton ball instead. But if you can really experience it, and that's why I call what I do mentoring, so that they can experience the receipt of a shame-free, connected, loving, serving relationship. They get a little taste. I can't be a lover. I can't do it all, but I can give everyone, they can get the scent of it. They can get the smell of it enough that they can recognize it and walk towards it when they see it in a room and it's coming from a man.
It's wonderful. The last thing we have to talk about, even though time is ticking very quickly, reclaiming the self. We talked about put the flag in the sand.
Determine
that. What
you
color
came up with that.
What color do you want that flag to be? And plant it in the sand and stand by your flag. Don't stand by your man. Stand by your flag.
That's exactly right.
And claim that.
You came up with that beautiful metaphor, and I said, absolutely. That is what the women in this generation that we're talking about, 45 and older, they got the 50s dating coaching that said, be everything to everyone will like you, and a nice man will marry you, and life will be good. And that advice has not served anyone of this generation well. What really works in every scenario is, who are you? Who do you want to be in the world? Paint that flag, pick your colors, design that flag, tie it to a pole, stick it in the sand, and hold it in place with all your might and stand by it. And let it be seen by everyone that can possibly see it. And the goal no longer is to be, desirable to everyone. The goal is to make your flag so brilliantly reflective of you that 30-pound canary who's looking for a 30-pound canary sees the 30-pound canary symbol on your flag, and he comes ambling over as fast as he can on his 30-pound canary leg, because he wants of what you are demonstrating you have. And you have to unabashedly own it and be that, and that hero in your own life.
We have to move into our truth, and if we can trust that we're, like radio waves, that we're transmitting out, and somebody's antenna is going to pick us up, pick up that energy and that vibration. I think trust is a big thing too. Listen, I have loved every minute of talking to you, pre-interview, post-interview. It's just been absolutely awesome. Tell the listeners, you have a website. Can we have your website, and can we have your Facebook, please?
Yes, of course. So I thank you, Georgiana, for all those lovely compliments, and the same right back at you, heartfelt. My website is kellymariehoffman.com. I have a Facebook group. You can join it for free. It is called Own Your Love Life. Own Your Love Life. And I do Facebook Lives. I connect with people. I try and give as much, coaching as I can through that. And then if you want to connect with me, you can find my webinar through there and watch the webinar. You can go to my website and connect and watch my webinar. You can also book a free call with me at the bottom of the page if you're interested. And I just will give the caveat, I work with women that are committed and want to solve this now. I don't work with people that are thinking about solving it. I'm happy to serve you, but I work with women that want to make this change in their lives and are willing to invest not only the time and effort and the money, but really the emotional investment in changing this DNA pattern for themselves.
Well, Kelly, I think that it is so exciting what you're doing, and we want everybody to. We gotta get this on social media. Everybody's got to know that there is this. There's this dating mentor for us older gals.
Not just that, but we got to get the plight of a woman in this age bracket known, so that there can be service and attention to this really real problem. So thank you for giving that time on here for that.
Thank you for being on the show. And I'm sure the listeners have loved it. Listeners, come back again next week for yet another exciting, wonderful, inspiring educational program here on Living Above the Drama.